My next guest has got a big fight coming up here against Cody Durden, UFC 310, December 7th, finishing the year on a good note. Pay-per-view wise, it is Joshua Van back here on the program. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. You
Yeah,
know,
I was gonna say you got to be happy getting one more in before the end of the year. How did this all come together?
you know what I mean? My thing is to stay active, and the UFC was able to give me a matchup, so I was grateful for it.
Yeah, and it kind of looked like Cody called you out a bit. Do you think that helped put this together? Or take me through sort of when you found out and how this fight was even on your radar.
I mean, he been calling me out for quite some time, and you know what I mean? Like I figured he was a ranked guy, and I wanted to fight him, so I called him out
That's good.
on my last fight interview. So, you know what I mean? The UFC decided to make it happen.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I was gonna
And
say
yeah, that's
you
how I
did the
felt.
work for the UFC, right? Getting the fight put together, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. We both did, me and him. So we both want this fight. So uh yeah.
Is there anything personal here, or is it just that you guys just or is it the opposite? Is there respect, and you're like, hey, let's find out who the better guy is? Is there anything personal for you in this?
For me it's nothing personal, man. You know what I mean? I saw he tweet about me a couple times. So you know what I mean? Why not just say something back? So that was it, man. That was it.
Okay, simple as that. Any other opponents in the mix, or it was always Cody was the opponent?
Like I said, man, I don't really know half of the guy in my division.
Oh,
So
right, right.
it's
Yeah, no
like
problem. No, I like the honesty. I like the honesty.
yeah.
Sometimes the UFC will like give different opponents, and maybe like it doesn't work out or whatever. So that's why I always ask those things. And do you like the turnaround here? Right, like you fought in September, fighting in December, like finishing the year off strong. Some fighters don't like that because obviously there's Thanksgiving and American Thanksgiving and all that stuff too. But do you like the schedule that you're on right now?
I mean, I love it. I love it, man, because my thing is to stay active, you know what I mean? So forget about the holiday and all that. But like looking back to my career before UFC, you know what I mean? I was active and stuff like that. That helped me get better every fight, you know what I mean? So if I was able to do that in the UFC, you know what I mean? I feel like I'll get better each fight. So staying active is always my main goal.
Um, how do you feel like stylistically you match up against Durden in this fight?
I take his ass down. So that's a good matchup for me.
Do you watch tape on your opponents, or is that more of a coach's thing, and then the coaches sort of relay that to you?
Usually I don't really watch my opponent fight, but my last fight when I fought the Edgar,
Yeah.
I started watching film and stuff like that. So even with this fight, man, I watched a couple of his fight. You know what I mean? He's all right.
Okay, fair enough. Take me through camp. Who've been some of the guys you're working with, helping you get ready for this fight?
I'm working with my boy, Sebastian and Alden Correa. He about to be in the UFC soon too. So it was us three putting in the work, man.
Yeah. What's that like? All of you coming on the come up. I mean, you've been in the UFC for a little bit now, but to be a part of something. Often you hear about these big gyms, and there's a lot of different fighters there. But it sounds like you're part of something new that people could be hearing about as a household name as far as your gym.
I mean, it feel great, you know what I mean? Like, and it make me realize, like, it make me grateful for what I have, you know what I mean? So, like, seeing the guy like uh Alden and Sebastian and stuff like that, everything they want to like UFC is everything they wanted, you know what I mean? And it make me reflect like a couple years ago, like last year, you know what I mean? So like that was everything I wanted too. So a couple fights ago, like, I take this shit for granted. Like, I was like, man, should I retire, this and that, because of the opponent fall off and stuff like that. But now that, like, I'm grateful for it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I was able to be in the UFC, fighting for the UFC and stuff like that. So it made me realize, like, everything we take, like, it just made me realize to be grateful for everything and shit. So it's great training with people like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It looked like you got a full camp for this one, or at least a decent amount of notice. How's the weight cut going? I know you always make weight, but always got to ask that too.
I mean, the way is always good. The way is always good. We probably cut it the week off because you know what I mean. I don't really got to cut, so
Nice.
we just training, man.
Okay, there we go. Your corner, I imagine that's all the same. Anything different there?
yeah, this time around, my jiu-jitsu coach ain't gonna be around, but my boxing coach will be there. So, Jose Vasquez.
Okay, cool. That's why I was asked because there could be some switch ups. How's this fight playing
Yes,
out on
sir.
December 7th? Without giving away the game plan, but how do you see the fight going down with you and Cody Durden? I think this has got fight of the night written all over it.
Yep. We're not gonna need the judge. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great fight. Fire.
Got to ask because you happen to be wearing a red hat. What did you think of President Trump getting elected?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, I think a lot of fighters voted for Trump. I'm not going to get personal and ask who you voted for unless you want to tell me. But what do you think? Do you think there'll be a lot of changes? Obviously, you live in Texas. I know that's a pretty red state.
For sure. I think there will be a lot of changing, you know what I mean? Good thing gonna happen in a couple years.
Okay. Why are you wearing an Atlanta Braves hat? I was just curious about that. You just
I,
like the
I
hat?
don't I don't know, man. I like I just like the way they look, man.
Okay. Fair enough. No, I was just asking because I know some people
Yeah.
are like fans of other baseball teams. I just figured because you're from Texas, you'd be more like a Rangers or Astros guy, right?
Funny you ask. I thought this was a basketball hat, to be
Oh, really?
honest. And then yeah, some guy just point out that, there's a little basketball thing on the back, and I was like, oh shit, okay. That's
Oh,
how I figured it out.
yeah. It's baseball, not basketball, right? Because that isn't that the Atlanta
Yeah.
Braves or no? Okay. Because I was going to say the only
I don't know
basketball
what
team I
this
think it could
is.
be with the it would be the Atlanta Hawks, right? I think that would be the only A team, right? Unless I'm wrong. Yeah,
I
no,
don't
no,
know what
no
team
worries.
this
It's a
is.
nice hat. Forget about that. I was just curious about it.
Yeah.
Big. I don't know if you caught the fight, but you guys have the same management. Did you see Brando Moreno's win over Amir Albazi? And if so, what did you think of his performance?
He looked great, man. His boxing was great, man. He looked you know what I mean? And again, the guy that he fought, he took like 2 years off or something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? To fight against like Moreno is crazy too. So shout out to both guys, but Moreno looked great.
yeah. What do you think of your division right now? We got Kaya Sakura fighting. He's making his debut. He's getting the title shot against Pantoja. Are you going to be watching that at all? Do you pay attention to that or no?
Yeah, of course I'll be watching, you know what I mean? Getting a title shot in his debut is crazy, but yeah, I'll be tuning in, watch that fight, you know what I mean? And the flyweight right now is great, man, because like the top five right now is crazy, you know what I mean? Even with the top 15, top 10, you know what I mean? So I feel like the flyweight right now is getting better and better.
Yeah, there's a lot of action, which is cool, and there's a lot of opportunities for movement, right? Like we just saw even last year, Steve Erceg, or this year I should say, Steve Erceg has a couple of UFC fights. He gets a title shot, so a lot of opportunities here, and that's why I think your fight is really important with Cody Durden. Which leads me to my next question: where do you think a win puts you? Because obviously Durden's sort of a household name. He's ranked. Where does that put you in the grand scheme of things?
He's like the old school, you know what I mean? He been there for a long time and he been ranked for quite some time, you know what I mean? To get a win over him, probably get me a top 10, if not, maybe hopefully top five.
Yeah.
And then maybe two more fight and then we get title, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's close. I know the focus
Yeah.
is on the fight, but we are getting to the holiday season. Do you got anything planned yet, or are you just gonna figure that out after the fight?
Nah, as of right now, it's just training, you know what I mean? I train 3 times a day and stuff like that. So just training and then after the fight, maybe plan for Christmas and New Year.
There you go. It's all business, but making time for interviews, Joshua. Really appreciate it, man. It is UFC 310, December 7th. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Man, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, the Nunes Low and Farm, and Kalar, my other sponsor. And then shout out to 4 Ounce Fight Club and shout out to Temple Construction. Shout out to Aslan Boxing Gym. And, shout out to all the people that support me. I do this for you guys.
There we go.